what if there were technomonasteries where instead of worshiping some god or meditating all the time or producing some olive oil or the Book of Kells, you sat around, maybe you did meditate a bit, but then you just worked on some kind of software problem. Maybe AGI is a good example, or some kind of math problem. But it wouldn't be like a company. I know you're just thinking like that's just a Silicon Valley, every Silicon Valley company, dude. It wouldn't be to continue to grow the monastery. It wouldn't be for profit at all. It would just be like to chill and write some code with some monks and live the monastic lifestyle, but like having technology involved with it. I think that would be a very interesting way to structure groups of people solving problems. Just because it would be nice to escape the capitalist brainwashing, all the capitalist like competitive thought, like how do I individually get ahead of everyone else? How do I make the most money? How do I get at a good company? How do I and the company it works like this on an individual level, right? And also on a company level. Like all the different AI companies right now fighting each other, all the different JavaScript frameworks fighting each other. Maybe that's the best system. I don't know. Maybe it's like evolution has proven very effective at selecting the best things. But the Book of Kells is pretty awesome. It was produced at a monastery. Also, I'm just like sick of all the competition and comparing. Like it goes so deep, the brainwashing, the Protestant work ethic, capitalist work all the time, grind in your free time, make your hobbies all into productive market value enhancing things, and then punish yourself when you don't live up to that. It goes so deep, dude. Like the other day, someone left a comment that said, it was like in reference to Paul Atreides, as half of my comments usually are, and it was like on a meta learning video, and it said Paul like learned quickly because his first training was in learning how to learn, or something like that, some meta learning quote. And my first instinct hearing that was like, at what age did Paul learn this meta learning technique? Am I behind him? Like I just compared myself, which is a habit that like every capitalist child has, to see how far ahead, how far behind you are, the curve of getting a nice job and whatever, succeeding in life and all the different facets. And I was comparing myself to a literal fictional character thousands of years in the future, which is utterly ridiculous. But I do that with, I hate to admit it, with like all kinds of things all the time. I'm constantly seeing like, what stuff do I know? What stuff do I not know? How do I get better at stuff? And it's that motivation, just, I get sick of it. It's like, it just gets old. And I'm really trying to program and work on things for the joy of itself, but it's deeply ingrained, to be honest. It's not like a trivial thing to just throw off all the societal expectations of what success looks like and just do something for its enjoyment in the moment. It goes deep, which is why I think a monastic lifestyle would be awesome. But imagine like a modern technical monastic lifestyle. It's like you buy like a warehouse complex and you get a bunch of people and you just meditate all the time, eat very simple meals. Maybe you work out, maybe you go on a group run or something, but it's like far in the countryside, no internet access, you only have textbooks, and you just like work on some big technical problem together and live a very simple lifestyle, like eliminate all the distractions. And I was thinking, how many people would it take and what would it take to build a self-sustaining society within society? Like a group that, like a monastery, it kind of produces everything it needs and it doesn't really rely on outside support. I'm not starting a cult, I swear. I'm just wondering what this would look like. Probably everyone's like on Brian Johnson blueprint stack. It's all super optimal. It sounds so Silicon Valley. I'm sure someone has tried to do this before, but yeah, it would be like not for profit at all. I feel like that would kind of corrupt. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. Because if something is for profit, you're incentivized to make it better, but you're also just incentivized to maximize profit. It's tough to say. But just like a group of people that's separate, that's kind of off the main capitalist grid, that doesn't operate like a company. It's just like monastic lifestyle sounds so appealing. But monasteries in the past used to produce things, like wine and olive oil and polished ceiling tiles if you're in Japan. But those things have all kind of been mechanized for the most part. And bespoke little factories in Greece produce olive oil. You don't need more humans to do that. But like bespoke software produced out of a monastery, I think would be really cool. There's also a bunch of like problems and edge cases to that though. Like, how do monasteries organize themselves? Are they democratic? They probably are following some guidelines that are kind of defined in their text of choice, I would guess, although I don't know much about like Buddhist monasteries versus Christian monasteries. Like, is there like a here's how you organize your monastery guidebook, here's what you do? Because I feel like there would be a bunch of people kind of fighting each other, and then it would just turn into a normal capitalist company. But you'd want it to be like, there's not a lot of thought going into anything other than programming. Although, also, a very interesting thing with this is like, it's combining like knowledge work and like a very mentally heavy process with something that's like not about that necessarily. Which, I don't know, it's actually weird now that I think of it, that so many programmer guys like meditate so much. I guess it's like the cognitive optimization aspect of it. And yeah, I know you're not supposed to meditate with any specific goal in mind. That defeats the point. But I just wonder how the problem solving, how the programming process, all of that stuff, all those nasty buzzwords, how that whole experience would change if you were completely off grid and it wasn't tied to doing something for the sake of being more employable or making more money or building your skills so that you can become more employable or make more money. And I know there are people that genuinely make this software because they enjoy it, like Tokyo Spliff or Linus Torvalds. I don't know, you could think of other equal programmers, but I feel like that's fewer and farer between than many of us would care to admit. And yeah, I enjoy programming, I do, but I feel like that enjoyment is severely tainted, has been tainted by all the money-making aspect of it and the utilitarian aspect of it. And I try to separate that as best I can, but like I said at the beginning, the brainwashing goes deep, I think. So yeah, someday maybe that would be an interesting project. Although I can see that going disastrously wrong too. Like a bunch of people alone in the woods, all secluded. That seems like a cult. That really seems kind of culty to me. Also, like, you'd have to kind of leave your family. Isn't that usually what happens when you go into a monastery? You kind of join their cult, basically. Yeah, I don't know. This is kind of a random idea. I'd be interested to hear if this has ever been done or attempted before, or maybe it's like a modern day thing. Maybe it exists in Silicon Valley. It's interesting. From what I've heard of the monks, they have a very simple routine that they don't really question, and programmers, the thing is, most of them in my experience, the good ones question everything all the time, and we're addicted to optimizing things, and there's no, I don't know, I feel like those ideas would clash, if that makes sense. Like, you would get into an optimization battle over the meta structure of the organization of the monastery itself, and then you would start fighting amongst yourselves, and different people would be doing different things, and it would just fall apart. It would just be like a weird, bad friend group out in the middle of the woods in an industrial. I don't know. That doesn't sound great. It would have to be very meticulously planned. And the rules would have to be like, these are the rules. You do these simple things. That's all you do. It would have to be very monastic. Yeah, I don't know. Food for thought.